Yes, bless up God family. It is July 18th, day 18 of Just Juice July, and feeling very good, feeling very revitalized, and just finished a Kemetic yoga session. So I'm speaking today actually for the first time. I did do some chants, but I feel very tranquil and very at peace, and certain things kept coming up in terms of things that I have done recently that I feel like I didn't do in the highest honor and with regard for my loved ones, for my God family. And a part of me is just working through releasing that idea of embarrassment or feeling ashamed. And I feel like there's definitely a lot of ways to look at things, and then when you start to become more objective, more omnipresent, you develop more of a sense for the people around you, whether you know them or not. And it's really what people think of when we talk about being empathetic, and then on a deeper level to where we can just move in an energy where we know that we are all connected. And so I'm the type of person that I feel a lot of people in my life, they expect perfection. And I'm far from that. I'm continuing to learn about myself and grow in different ways and evolve. And I have some great elders, great mentors, great young ones that teach me so much every day. And it behooved me to not acknowledge that I am going through a process as well in terms of continual evolution and transformation and progression. So I give thanks just for these moments to be able to have said realizations, because I know there's times where I feel like, I'm so aligned in where I need to be. And it just takes one little thought to shift your balance, to shift your frequency. And of course, we can feed into thoughts, and we have to think about the thoughts that we're investing in. But when there's something worth investigating, when the heart really wants to, it's going to make you one way or another, one day or another. So I've been doing some deep investigation these past few hours since rising. And even during my session and my meditation, where certain things have come up, and I was told to just breathe and release. And something that I was doing was taking multiple breaths in to really make sure that I'm connecting, not only with the breath in the body, but with the thought. There's something that happens through the breath, through conscious breathing, that puts us in an automatic tranquil state. And I noticed that babies really have a way of doing this when they're releasing. And I heard today, it was so interesting, I heard today that they do the quick breaths, multiple at the same time, the quick inhales. And it's something that I feel really just transcends a written idea. It's the nature of us. And to put it into practice, to de-stress, to know that even if we're not releasing through our crying of tears, the soul, the heart wants to cry sometimes. Though we may be releasing through mucus coming out of our nose, and sometimes you hear the sniffles, right? It's really about also getting to that point where we can consciously know subconsciously know, hey, it's time to go into my work. It's time to go into my meditation, my breath, and to be able to allow that breath to resonate and raise your frequency, raise your vibration in the moment. And if we were perfect, it wouldn't take any work, right? Wouldn't take the breath work, wouldn't take the movement work, wouldn't take the sound activation, wouldn't take the proper education in terms of learning about our nutrition and our different herbs and plants that we have around us. A lot of this education has also been hidden, and we've been miseducated in many ways. So there's a unlearning to relearn, and not to say that we have to let go of the things that we have picked up along the way completely. It's just knowing how to make room for the new, and knowing what things don't work, because in this idea of perfection, we will continually move as if everything we have done and said works. Now, there is this thought, and I'm between it, and I call it the perfectly imperfect syndrome. And this syndrome can also be a medicine for some. Drugs are just medicine abuse, right? So when we think of being perfect, I think the Creator designed us all with the energy to strive for perfection in mind, for us to really make sure that we are working towards these goals, and then also every day making sure that we're able to correct ourselves. So I think the perfect thing about life is that we are able to process the things that make us imperfect and take those notes and take those lessons and be able to transcend above new ideas, or old ideas into new ideas, old thoughts into new thoughts, old behavior into new behavior, old situations into new situations, and old environments into new environments, to really inspire not only our spirit and our inner child, but also the people around us. Everyone is carrying a child. Everyone has an inner child, and some people don't necessarily take care. They neglect. And of course, recently I said, for me, I have 4 children. My brothers, who I now consider my own, especially because my father has transcended. My business, because when you are looking to grow something, just like a plant, it takes that attention, and it takes cooperation. It also takes the nurturing. And then the inner child, where all of that applies to the inner child as well, where I have to make sure that I am being accountable and being very reliable for my inner child, that I'm showing up in the ways that my inner child needs to, that I'm able to communicate with myself in a healthy way that is not going to damage or hinder the power and the beauty of who the Most High birthed. And I give thanks to my parents, my earthly parents, my mother and my father, because a part of our essence is always going to be that of our ancestors and that of our elders in our lineage. And I see so much of myself, and I see so much of my parents in me. And it's making sure that I'm able to also take their lives and be an extension, in a sense of not only am I extending, but I am progressing, but I am elevating, and I'm being very conscious of the ways that I am moving forward and making sure that I destroy traumas, that I break generational curses, and every family will have one or another, because once again, this idea of perfection, The people who came before you, they did things, and some of it was great, and then some of it were lessons for you to be able to stand on their shoulders and seek new insight from the Creator. Some of it was for you to really take note and make sure that you are healing your DNA and not repeating these same things. And then there's those people that the Most High puts in our lives. And going back to my initial point, I never want to be foolish with the universe. I don't want to be ungrateful with the Most High by not acknowledging the Most High's greatest invention, which are the gods and goddesses of this planet. And so in every relationship, I am further and even much more profoundly looking to nurture that on a deeper level, because everyone has an inner child, and my goal is to look at everyone as if they are carrying that inner child, as if they are that inner child. So I pray for the healing in relationships. I pray for the healing in the idea that we put this projection of perfection upon one another. I pray for communal growth and the growth of us as a people, individually, socially, and spiritually. We're capable of so many things, and I realize that my position is not to get out of the barrel of crabs and just abandon everyone. I think as if we think of ourselves as this crab in the barrel mentality, it's like, when do we begin to use our weight to turn this bucket over? Because one way or another, all of us are in it. And we are only scratching the surface of spirituality. We're only scratching the surface of our spiritual evolution, of the next dimension, of higher dimensions, of higher thoughts, of higher processing in terms of the way we look at this planet and deal with it, and the way it deals with us, the way we allow Mother Nature to nurture us, or lack thereof. So there is a force that is undeniable coming, and it's waking up in many different individuals. And it's that idea of transcendence, transcending these dimensional traps and roadblocks. And it's really something that's deep on many different levels. I was talking to my brother about music yesterday, and how people used to really talk about hip-hop and its effects on young minds and individuals. And he said he noticed how he would be listening to certain music, and it's like those characteristics, those frequencies, were then making him more aggressive, then shaping his thought process and mentality. And I've been a victim of this too. I feel like many people have, where we're listening to something, and even if consciously we're telling ourselves, oh yeah, I can separate, subconsciously there's something happening. Our vocabulary, our energy towards each other, and that's a part of what we feed ourselves. The entertainment, the music, the reading, or the movies that we may be watching, it's all going into what we're feeding ourselves. and this society needs a major detox in order for us to communally reach a higher level of consciousness. So it also brought up this point. I was listening to this brother today, a really, really dope, profound brother. I need to get his name, but he was talking about how cognitive dissonance is really what it is when it comes to that, where we can say, you know, nah, this ain't necessarily real for me, but yet then we almost play this music like it's mantras for us. In our community, a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters, they play this music like it's mantras, and it's dropping different ideas, whether it's the way we treat each other, fighting, and hypersexualization, all of these different concepts. And it just really brings up so many different ideas in terms of whether we are thinking consciously or thinking about each other, even with the things that we're creating. And all creations are coming from the Creator, but the Creator designed us to be the caliphs, as it says in the Quran, you know, placeholders on this planet. So I think it's super important for us to make sure that we are treating that role and duty and obligation with a lot of dignity, because we have the power to affect people on a profound and spiritual, psychological levels. So I pray for the elevation of consciousness on this planet. I give thanks, God family. Get out in the sun today. Get out in nature. Make sure you stay hydrated. And, you know, Just Juice July, about 12, 13 more days. And I want to be even more disciplined, because even when it comes to just certain things that I have done this month or I've said this month, I've been really looking and measuring myself on the scales of Ma'at through the 42 laws. And it's beautiful, because there's some days where I'm really hitting it. And then other days where I have to look and say, wow, I didn't tell the truth, or I spoke scornfully. And that accountability, at times, even to admit it publicly, if one wants to, but either way, it could be a difficult thing. But I encourage you all to just operate in your truth. And that is a way that we reclaim our power. And that is a way that we not achieve perfection, but we reach and strive for perfection. Ashe, God family. Blessings. Stay rooted.